Music plays.
Okay.
C'est mon père, ça me fait bien tiens. Je me fie dire non kotu, era one radio. C'est mon père, tu me fais bien tiens. Je me fie dire non kotu, era one radio. Oh, and you come to asam come
Hello, friends and family of Era One Radio. Tonight is another night of divine connection. As usual, I'm your host, Charles Boison. And on behalf of my studio manager, Dr. 32, and the whole Era One team, I want to welcome you to tonight's broadcast. It's so special because the guest I have is also very special. The 21st day of May 2024. This is a live show, not a pre-recorded. Of course, we're broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and also Modern Ghana Radio. Today being the 21st day of May, it's a special day for a friend of mine, a brother of mine, by the name Yao Owusu, all the way in New Jersey. So my guest and I, of course, and the whole family, we are wishing brother Yao, Uncle Yao Owusu a happy birthday. Wherever you are, brother Yao, whether you are doing groceries or you are roaming the whole of New Jersey, we just want to wish you a happy birthday. All right, I don't have a birthday song here. I wish I could have played it for you. All right, so tonight I am back with my special guest who has been here before. Tonight is going to be father and daughter relationship. We're going to have a lovely discussion. And my guest is Davina Mamiaba Boison. She is a junior to UNC, also on Duke University.
A senior.
I'm sorry, forgive me. Oh, okay, that's where you're going. Pardon me. I didn't mean to demote you. Thank you for correcting me. So it's going to be a lovely, so you see, she started, so it's going to be a lovely, fantastic discussion. Tonight, we are looking at this special topic. I already put it on Facebook, so please join us. Join us on Facebook and YouTube and share with your friend because Davina is in the house and the roof is going to come down. We are discussing this special topic. What does it mean to live the American dream? We always talk about it. I want to live the American dream. Those in America want to live the American dream. Those in Africa want to come here and live the American dream. And I believe those in Africa to also live in the African dream. So whatever it is, wherever you are living your dream. What is a dream at all? We are broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and also Modern Ghana Radio. The number to call in is 240-280-2633. And if you want a text, which I do encourage you to, 510-931-0946. All right, again, on behalf of my studio manager, Dr. 32, and their own team, I'll welcome you. All right, Davina, let's get kicking. You've already spent 3 years in college. You are going to your final year. Give us a snippet of how is college life? How would you describe your experience so far?
I would say I'm gonna use a noun.
A noun, not a verb.
Yes. Yeah. Or adjective. I would say
Okay.
self-actualization is what
Wow.
college has been for me.
Wow, you people in big brothel. All right. Now let's look at the number of years you're spending in college. I know for medical students, they have to go through, the pre-med, and so it's more than 4 years. And for you guys who want to be psychologists, advertising managers, and all whatever you want to talk about, is 4 years enough for college?
4 years was the perfect amount. Like it's like they scientifically crafted it.
4 years, so that's
Yes.
enough.
Yes.
No less, no more.
No, because I can break it down for you. So freshman year, you go. Freshman year is you're detaching from your parents or from your home or from what you've known for the past 18 years. This is where you meet a problem. Like you realize something about the world is really messed up, and you didn't know that before. So that's freshman year, right?
Okay.
Freshman year, also fighting. You can't fight the system yet because you don't know it's a system, but you know there's a problem somewhere. So that's freshman year. Sophomore year, you hit like a wall, and you're like, you have a experience that completely turns your life around. That's sophomore year. You take some time. Sophomore year is the learning year, I would say. Junior year, you come and you have a new mindset, and now it's time to test your new mindset. Senior year is where you bring it all together and hopefully where you're back to being restored again.
All right, let me go back to the first. You said first year was detachment year.
Yes.
So would you say you are detached?
I don't think you're ever fully detached from your parents,
Mm,
but I think, like, you make the steps to being, you're getting ready to form new attachments and you're going to replace, you're going to turn into your parents or. So it's time to start getting ready.
sweet. All right. So we're going to go to the aspect, the ethos of living the American dream. And I got a few information sources from investopedia.com. So I'll be pulling some of my information from here. So that is the people or the article I'm giving credit to. Now we're going to talk about living the American dream. I don't know your perceptive ideas or perception about living. Maybe I'll give my getting to the end of the discussion, but I want us to lay down some foundations. Well, so when we talk about living the American dream, some of the descriptions is the characteristic spirit of a culture, era, or community as manifested in its beliefs and aspirations. This is just one definition of what ethos is. And I mentioned this because of a definition that I want to give. Let me just go back to that definition. It says, what is it? Ethos, the characteristic spirit of a culture, era, or community as manifested in its beliefs and aspirations. And ethos is the character, sentiment, or normal moral nature of a person, group, or institution. Learn the synonyms, the examples, the word history, and all that. So that will find significant meaning when it comes to the definition of what the American dream is. And as I said earlier on, I looked at investopedia.com, and this is one of the definitions it gave. So let's look at this definitions. So I take this, the term American dream was coined by a writer and historian by name James Truslow Adams, who in his best-selling book 1931, The Epic of America, he described it as that dream of a land in which life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to ability or achievement. Let me go over again. That dream of a land in which life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to ability or achievement. Before I even ask you whether you agree or you oppose this statement, let me ask you, madam, do you agree with that statement?
I thought you just said before.
Eh?
Before I ask you if you agree with that statement, let me ask you if you agree with that statement.
Yeah, so yeah, let me ask you, do you agree?
I do agree.
You do?
I think that's a really nice definition. I've never heard that before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So do you think this is a reality nowadays from that definition that I read?
No.
Why?
You know what I'm going to say. I think America has so much potential and so many seeds, but the people who started this country and who are escaping some type of oppressive, government or regime, they didn't realize that they soon would become their oppressors. I think that's the mistake that happens time and time again. People don't, and it's slow, and you don't realize when you've taken the ways of your oppressor, and now you've come against a new group. So I think the background of like the Constitution in theory is really nice. I think America is founded on a really nice ideal, but because some people weren't included in it originally, it's a little bit harder for others to achieve the American dream because of some systems we have in place. I think.
Hmm.
What do you think about that?
Some systems, I mean, I agree to some extent. I mean, I know there are systems, but I think as we get on, we'll come to some conclusion or some compromise. Now, let's look at this. The idea of the American dream has much deeper roots. Its tenets can be found in the Declaration of Independence, which states, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Your agreement or disagreement to this?
Agreement that it's it's accurate for America, or what's the question?
Let me go over again. So this is the notion. The idea of the American dream has much deeper roots. Its tenets can be found in the Declaration of Independence, which states, "We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness."
That's true. That's like that. They did. Wow, you're reading it, and they did a good job writing it.
You did a good job.
Yeah. What
So
do
you
you
see,
think?
do you see this rights as rights for all citizens without any
Like
reservation?
the American dream or God?
Whatever I read concerning the truth, the liberty, and all that stuff, maybe just the conclusion that they are endowed. The aspect of God we can't dispute. We hold this truth that to be certain that all men are created equal, that we know, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These things, I don't think we can even debate them. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, I agree.
But as to whether this stands true is another issue.
Yeah.
Do you see these rights as rights of all citizens? I know you mentioned a snippet of something earlier on, but these
Yeah.
rights that were mentioned here, do you see them as rights that belong to all the citizenry?
Yes. It even says it in the Bible. Everywhere. I feel like. I think like if you just think about humans in our most free state, all of those things are true. Yeah.
So there's no adulteration, huh?
No.
All right, let me digress a little bit and read this scripture from the book of Acts, chapter 17, verses 26 to 30. This is what it says. "And had made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and had determined the times before appointed and the bounds of their habitation, that they should seek the Lord, if haply they might feel after him and find him, though he be not far from every one of us. For in him we live and move and have our being, as certain also of your poets have said, for we are also his offspring. For as much then as we are the offspring of God, we ought not to think that the Godhead is like unto gold or silver or stone, graven by art and man's device. And the times of this ignorance God winged at, but now commanded all men everywhere to repent." All right, so let me go back to the reading. Now, let's focus. Well, if we reflect a little bit on the scripture, all it means is that if you look at the whole of creation, or even the whole of human habitation, it says that God has made all nations of one blood, which means we came from one source. We believe that Adam was the pro man that all humanity came from, all nations. But then God has diversified all of us, some to be black and white, live in different habitations. So wherever we find ourselves living, whether it's in Asia, it's in the Americas, Africa, or wherever, we all kind of converge to God. So in actual fact, we are of one blood. That is what the Constitution was trying to lead to. All right, now I don't know whether you have a question on that scripture. Otherwise, we'll
I
go
have a
to.
question for you.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
This may be going too ahead, but do you think if someone asked you right now, do you think you've achieved the American dream? What would you say?
I think the American dream is progressive. I don't know anybody who attains. It depends on how you look at it, because I don't know whether I read it, but some of the, let me see if I can get
No,
this.
simple yes or no question. Did you achieve the American dream? Yes or no?
I'll say no, because that's why I said it's progressive, because it's ongoing. I don't think we achieve all in a day or a year or a decade. It keeps going. It depends on how you see. That's what I wanted to see if I can get a quote I put to answer that question, whether it's possible for anyone to attain it. And it has to do with what actually the dream is. For instance, okay, the American dream. They believe that anyone, regardless of where they were born or what class they were born into, can attain their own version of success in a society in which upward mobility is possible for all. I'll agree with that. But as to, let's say, stuff like, when you talk about the American dream, some see it as, okay, achieving a big house, achieving a car, having a family, and all that. If you say that, to some extent, most people have achieved it, or they are there. Okay, here you don't need millions of dollars to have a home or a car. Unlike other parts of the world where you have to pay actual physical cash when you get to the lot or whatever. I mean, I know places where if you want to buy a car because you don't trust your credit or stuff like that, you have to pay full cash for the car before you drive away. But here, you don't need a bucket full of money to get a car. What you need is knowing your numbers, a credit score. If your credit score is good, you have a good job. Of course, that comes to getting a good job and being responsible. So if you are responsible, then your numbers will follow you. Whatever car you want to drive, trust me, as long as you are responsible, you can get it. You can go get a Bentley for 50,000, 100,000. Hey, I can pay. Every month I will pay. I don't need to get 150,000 or 200,000 to go and drive that lot. I can pay monthly. And that is it. When you get tired of paying it, either they repossess the car or you say whatever. So it's possible. When it comes to that, that dream is true. Do we need a buku money to buy a house? Not really. I mean, for those of us in the military, you can even get a house without even putting down a down payment. Your mortgage is, you have this benefits that you go and by virtue of being in the military, it gives you that credential. So you don't even have to put down a down payment unless you want to put down something to decrease your mortgage. So to some extent, it's attainable, but it's a subjective idea. So if I say I've attained American, you might say, okay, the things you need to make that dream fulfilled is not yet there. So in a way, I'll say, I'm not there yet. I'm still working towards it. If you ask Bill Gates, have you attained the American dream? He can say yes or no. By virtue of all the money he has, to say, okay, I have all this investment, I have all this, done this. Okay, I'm still doing, projects, investment in Africa. Maybe I have, but maybe there's something on his bucket list that he hasn't fulfilled. So he can tell you, because of that, I haven't fulfilled it. So if you look at it, it depends on the individual whether it's been attained. But Rana, you haven't reached anywhere. You just, a senior. Have you attained the American dream?
No, but I have my plan.
You have your plan.
I don't even have a plan. I don't know.
Yeah, spell it out. What do you have?
I have the blueprint.
The blueprint. So you have a plan.
Yeah.
All right, I was listening to Dr. Otabe last week, and I think he was continuing his series on having a 10-year plan. It's good that you have a 10-year plan, 20-year plan. It's very good. But unfortunately, you know how 31st December, somewhere in Africa, where most of the so-called prophets are giving prophecies that, somebody's going to die this year, next year. And I once heard Dr. Otabe mention that how can you even plan your life or in a country where they tell you you're going to die next year? How do you plan for stuff like that? Anyway, that is a digression. But let's go on. Let me go to this. All right, let's look at what Martin Luther King said. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous speech referenced the concept of the American dream by stating, "I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed," which is quoted earlier on. "We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, undisputable." Since the early 1960s, Dr. King had pondered and preached about how African Americans didn't get a chance to access the reality of the American dream because they were not truly equal to white men and women. Ultimately, Dr. King's dream was equality. When you reflect on Dr. Martin King's dream, would you say that equality has been achieved in this country, or we are close to achieving it?
I don't think we'll ever achieve it, but that's how it's supposed to be. That is the American dream, actually. And even hearing you talk, I think we need to be more honest when we talk about the American dream, especially us, who are here in this and, actually living the American dream. I think instead of thinking about it in goals, we need to more so start thinking about how we feel every single day. Like every single day, I feel like the American dream should be complete fulfillment and happiness. So we ask ourselves every single day when we are in America, are we happy or are we stressed? Or
happiness is subjective. What do you mean by happiness?
I don't think happiness is subjective.
It's not?
I think happiness is when your body is complete, when you're well.
And that is based on happiness. So your happiness might not be my happiness.
No, Joy, I think your body, everyone has the same, everyone may not have the same happiness, but everyone has the same, your body knows when you're happy. I think happiness is doing what your body needs continually without fear of losing it.
Because if you break the word happiness down, it's like happiness, things that happen to you. So somebody might say, when I get $1 million, I am happy. When I don't have it, I'm sorry. If I don't have something in my life, maybe I haven't eaten breakfast, I don't have happiness, and that is different from joy. Joy, it's established, but happiness is based on things that happen to you. So if I get $1,000, well, I'm excited. I'll be happy the whole day. Or somebody goes to an investment campaign or something, and all he makes is $1,000. Oh, I am so sad. I only made $1,000. So happiness, well, it depends on how you look at it. So it depends. The person who gets or works $10 an hour job, if he gets paid 3,000 a month for 4,000 a month, that is his fulfillment. But that 4,000 is the money somebody uses to clean his dog's.
That's why it's not see how you brought in money. It's not about money. It's about waking up every day and knowing I've fulfilled what I am supposed to do and I'm able to keep fulfilling it. Maybe the word isn't happiness. Maybe the word is fulfillment.
But I've heard you say before, it's like money doesn't mean anything to you, but the money is important.
Money, yeah, it is important. I think it's a good form of currency. My thing is more so when I think about the world, I don't look at things as how they are. I look at what's lying underneath it. So what does money represent? What are the barriers to some people getting money and some people already having money? Well, look at our president, Donald Trump. Donald Trump is literally in office. Well, not office, but he made his success in America and reached the American dream with a loan. A loan that most people, it's like there's a race for the American dream, but some people start with a bonus,
They are a step ahead.
yeah, not
Like
even one step. They're like 1,000. You're never ever gonna catch up to them. Most people.
Yeah, of course, some people are born with silver spoon, like they say in their mouth. So such people, if they have inheritance, you're not going to catch it. You have to struggle and work hard to attain it. Some people are born with inheritance. I mean,
But you know what? Inheritance also comes with power. And those who have money usually have some connection to power. So I think the thing is people don't tell people like abroad or maybe back in Ghana that the American dream is exclusive.
The American dream is go further, explain further.
I think the masses, I think the American dream is just some notion that they came up with. And you can make movies around it. You could sell it to people in Africa and people in Asia. Oh, America, America, America. Even calling themselves the leaders of the free world, right? But they're going around doing so much terrible things and dividing nations based on their racial system. How are people in Haiti worried about like mulattoes and mixed people when like things that we shouldn't even be worried about? We should all be working together, but we have these systems that they come in and then they give some people some power, and then once people get power or they think they have power, then they start acting in wicked ways sometimes. Yeah. So it's just like, I don't know. I think for a lot of people who come here have so much talent, but I think America is like a boys club. And for 80% of the population, you won't even see the boys club. Like you will never. They're the ones who like hold the dream, and they give it to like 5% of the population every year.
Wow. So
And the rest
some people have the power to give out a dream.
Absolutely. I think the people who were here a long time ago, the people who were in power then planted the seed so that it would be the same story every now and then they add a new family or they add a new member, right? But what does that member have to do to get into the club? What kind of mental sacrifices did they have to make to get into the club? Like even, I don't know, but P. Diddy, we were talking about P. Diddy earlier. And even it's like you get to the top, what sacrifices are you making? What morals are you shedding to get to this American dream, to be a money man? I don't know. I think we have to talk about the cost of the American dream and those who actually get it. What did they have to do to get there?
Wow, that's deep. Let's take a quick jingle and then we'll be back. Stay tuned.
C'est mon père, ça me fait bien tiens. Tu me fais dire non kotu, era one radio. C'est mon père, tu me fais bien tiens. Tu me fais dire non kotu, era one radio. Oh, and you pam chima, asam pam chima. Chintu,
They are four women. They are beautiful with brains. They are eloquent, decent, wise, and experienced. You have heard many, the funny. Now, it's time to hear the experience and the brainy. Meet Selena, Dorcas, Gifty, and Annette as they present the real in common getting. In common BISS chain, the dead, as in Takrenu assume the dead, the real in common getting. Showing live this and every Sunday, 7 p.m. on Era One Radio on Facebook and on YouTube, Era One Radio and on Taibo channel. Kaise, so we see the real in common getting ya. What brabon tete, we nyan konkonsa, we the real in common getting.
Back after a quick break. We are still on Era One Radio. It's the show Divine Connection. This is where divinity meets humanity. In actual fact, on this show, we use both our minds, our brains, and the Spirit of God to think. We have to combine the two. Tonight, I have my special guest, Davina Boison, UNC Duke Senior. And so if you want to join our discussion, which is what does it mean to live the American dream? We are looking at her generation and my generation. What does it mean for me to talk about the American dream, somebody who migrated from Africa? So when I was coming to the States, some of the things I had in mind was that, I don't know who told us, but we had an illusion that money grew on tree, maybe because we had too much interaction with Reverend Ike. For those of you who don't know Reverend Ike, this is a minister, a reverend minister, a man of God who will send us communication, nice envelope, holy handkerchief and all that. And he will send us a picture that had a tree with money. Dollar bills all scattered as branches on the tree. So our notion was that when you get to America, all the trees there are lined with dollars. So you just walk under, you start plucking. So we had that mentality, although we didn't know it was true. And we also did think that America was the solution to everything, to some extent, yes. But despite that, there are also some woes in this country. Of course, the culture is different, the perception is different. We brand ourselves as the leader of the free world and all. We have all these accolades. But when you step in, realize that some things are not exactly as you think. No system is perfect. Of course, if you compare here to other countries, which one are you going to pick? Your choice is as clear as mine. But then that is not the point. So I have Miss Davina here to glean her mind on what it means to live the American dream, looking at her generation. We're still broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and also Modern Ghana Radio. The number to call is 240-280-2633, or you can text 510-931-0946. I know some of you are working, so you watch this after we are done with the live broadcast. All right, let's continue with our question. I had this question. Let me go back. When it comes to the dream, maybe I don't know whether this is related to a dream, but let me ask you, do you envisage having another black or biracial man or woman as president after Barack Obama anytime soon?
Okay, I'm gonna give you. Let's go through my brain, right? Because we were also talking about this. Even Barack Obama becoming president. When we think about how Barack Obama became president, Barack Obama has, even though he is black, of course, in like where he's coming from, where his father's from, he's black. Is he African American? Black and African American are two different things. And I think when we think about how people are being treated and what type of trauma people have and what it's like being a descendant of a slave in the same country, that your ancestors were once enslaved in, there's been systems and rules put in place so that you never, get to any prosperity. So I wonder if Barack Obama, being that he was raised by a white woman, was able to have access to some things that somebody with a low income black mother would be able to access. And even, when you have a white mother, you're able to more so socialize. You're socializing more with white children, maybe. And maybe because you know how white children speak and you know how they think, it's easier for you to get into these certain rooms, right? A lot of people are rejected and from certain places simply because of the way they speak, not because they're lacking in any intellect. America has a language that these people speak. It's a mindset. It's literally a language. But because we all speak English, we think we're all speaking the same language. We're not.
Hmm.
But yeah, your question was, will there be another president? I think they will. I think both parties like to show that they're progressive, and they're, even though their parties never included African Americans, of course, as great people have come up from the African American community and protested, how they're being treated every now and then. I think the one thing about even the people who oppress people in this country, they some of them can admit when they're wrong, and they can say, okay, this is oppressive, we can correct this system. So I always think there's hope for another black president. I think black people are showing that in the way that they built this country and the way that they've supported and fueled this country's success. They will always, as they keep pushing on, as we keep pushing on as people, will always be able to get into spaces if
Hmm.
need be.
So there's hope that we'll get another black or biracial or whatever. I mean, non-exclusive white someday. So there's
I
hope.
think so.
There's hope.
But the question is for you, what gender?
What
Will
gender?
there be a black female president?
I'm hoping for one. I think it's about time. We should have one. And honestly, for years ago, I was rooting that Hillary would become the first president. I mean, it didn't occur. I mean, I didn't mind whether it was white, black, or whatever, but I felt it was time. The men have, let me use the word, ruled for a while. And I mean, your mom keeps saying that we've given the men the chance to do stuff. Let's try the women too. I mean,
Yeah.
women, people who get pregnant for 9 months, they know the birth pain and all that. And I think we should give women chance. And I was so rooting for Hillary to make it, and unfortunately, she didn't. And I'm looking for a day or a chance where a woman will, And there was this guy who went to give I think, was it a commencement speech, and I don't know whether it was an error, but he made a statement. I don't know which point it was coming from, but he made a statement to the effect that women should find their place in the kitchen or something like that. I'm trying to paraphrase, and it became a kicker. It didn't go down well for him, because things have changed, and you know how, hard your mom works going to all these hours, and so I believe, I don't know whether. Vice President Kamara is going to take over. I don't know who is, but I think we need to give women a chance because we need somebody who will represent the women. But unfortunately, when Hillary was standing, not even all the women supported her. That was something that I really felt very painful at, because okay, here's a lady first time
Well,
coming.
just the same as men don't support all men, women, we don't have to support. I think we support the advancement of women's rights,
Okay.
but you don't have to support specifically every single woman.
Well, I thought she had good goals. Anyway, let me leave that alone. Let me come back to Mr. Barack. Now, here was somebody he's still smart. He gave one of the most beautiful speeches during the convention that catapulted him to becoming, the nominee after being the Senate for, Chicago area. That guy is brilliant and smart, and so I would never, look down upon his intelligence and all that. But let me ask you, apart from his intelligence, his smartness, his uniqueness, all that, do you think having a mother that was white play a role in him becoming the president?
Absolutely.
So if his mom was also pure black, would it have been a less chance?
I Yes, I don't even think he would. Honestly, you can even go back to childhood if you're thinking about the time in which you grew up in. The simple thing of, let's say, him going to school and having a white mother could have let some white people at some advanced school allow him to enroll because, he has some of us. So we'll, it's
Okay.
like, that's even historically how America has been. The slave master, even though he was terrible to the dark skinned slaves and his own children, because there's some recognition, there's some shared blood. Even the worst person can recognize shared blood, and so you will even get some opportunities because of that. Now you're subjected to more because you're allowed into the spaces with white people. You have to deal with more of, like, the insults against your race because you're the only black person there. So I'm sure he's also faced his share of things. But the thing is access. You're even able to get into the room that some black boy may not be able to get into.
Hmm. All right. So looking at the American dream as we see it, if somebody were to given the opportunity to sell the assets, let's say from Africa, and migrate here, would you advise the person?
Sell how many assets do they have? No, they should never sell their assets. Actually,
A jungle. But do you think,
our roots are in Africa. You should never let go of your roots, or you'll be
but,
you'll be sick.
but you haven't lived there before, so you don't know how it feels.
And that's why I think most of us who are first generation, you always feel like there's a part of you that's missing. There's a whole your people that you don't know, and it shows up over and over in your life. So I think that's why it's good for all of us to have strong connections with our homelands.
Wow.
Displacement is not good. That's why the African American, like, just the history is a history of displacement.
So recently, Steve Wonder was given a Ghanaian citizenship. What do you see of that?
I think Ghanaians and African Americans are very similar. I think they were slaves in another country, and a lot of us were maybe slaves in our own country.
Hmm.
So
Say that again.
I, I think African Americans were there's enslaved people in one country, and some of us were enslaved people in our own country. Dare I say, all of us were enslaved in our own country. We're all, if you, I think of it like this: we're brothers and sisters. So let's say we have the same white father, and that's the master or the white man. Think of it metaphorically. Don't think of an actual white man, but his power and his influence. The European, how they've done colonialism and implanted racism and colorism, all these things, right? So let's say we're brothers and sisters because we are, but we have different mothers. We have Mother Africa, and they have a mother who's being tortured. So I think it's different types of, it's like the parent doing different types of terror to both of his children, but they're both being terrorized by the same father.
Hmm. Wow. All right. I get you. I really get you. Let me throw in this important fact here. Which says the American dream also offers the promise that the circumstance of someone's birth, including whether they were born American citizens or immigrants, do not completely determine their future. Let me say it again. The American dream also offers the promise that the circumstances of someone's birth, including whether they were born American citizens or immigrants, do not completely determine their future. Does this then mean that you can be rich or poor irrespective of your status of how you live in the country? Doesn't matter if you are in this country as a naturally born citizen or a true immigration.
Well, I think the nice thing about, not the nice thing, I think America and the American dream is a culture. So while it originated with one race, it's just it's a mentality, it's behavior, and as long as you engage in the same behavior and have the same mentality, you can win. It's like any game. If you know the rules, you can win the game. That's how America is. It's going to be harder for you, obviously, because you weren't born into it. But if you play by the rules, and I think also you have to go a little bit crazy, and I think if you're willing to give that up, then you can make it. Or if you take it the alternate route and you work extremely hard, but then you have to push past all types of discrimination and all types of systems that you have to work harder in. So it's difficult either way you take it, I feel like. But if that's your goal, you can reach it. Mm, let me take that last part. Let me take that last part back.
Okay. All right. Take it back. Let's hear you again. Let's hear revise it.
I think if the American dream to people is full success in what they want to do, I don't think most people will do it. I think most people in America actually settle. I think it's too hard for most people. It's not possible, so they have to settle into a life that'll pay the bills and keep things going, but they're not fully happy. And they have to go into spaces with people who have these power over them, but they know it's like you have these bosses who you know more than, but they're your bosses because their dad owns the company. That's what America is like for, I feel like, for a lot of people. So I don't know.
Hmm.
What do you think?
Well, I can't dispute what you said. I think you nailed it. Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the whole thing, it's like I wouldn't say it's a bona fide property to
Mm,
be in that situation. Sometimes, yeah, it's American dream, but you have to work for it. You have to fight for it. It
yeah,
wouldn't be handed to you on a silver platter. There's no way you're going to get it that easy. Even those who obtain it through being bequeathed to them or transfer of money or power, even there they still have to do something. So for
yeah,
the rest of us, we have to work hard. It's like you have to work double to get what somebody can do one time. So it is
yeah,
not easy. The other thing is that, I mean, when people think about American dream, what I'm thinking of is the access to something that you mentioned. I mean, it's kind of a little bit easy, I would say, as long as you are ready or willing to work and make a good credit, things will come easy. Like I said, I mean, I can't think of anybody who has worked here 10 years and so, "Oh, I don't have a car or I don't have a good place to," unless you are not really struggling. No matter the low wage you get, no matter how much you are paid an hour, some way, somehow, you can make it. And when I came here, I didn't
well,
understand.
see, I think that's your problem. You're saying make it. I think that's just what you need to survive. Like, even in this country, most places you can't live without a car. Like, the grocery store is 10 minutes. You need a car here. That's a necessity.
So, yeah, it's not a luxury. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think because America has maybe a little bit of a higher standard of living, people think it's better here. But even most people who have a car, they are going to the grocery store every week and they're like, how am I going to have enough to, I feel like it's not a dream. It's just, it's a higher level of like everybody has a car, so you should have one here. Whereas in other countries, not everybody needs to have a
That's a
car. Not
luxury. Yeah.
everybody.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So
in other countries, if you have a car and you are driving, and you meet the honeys, the ladies, they'll follow you. I mean, irrespective. Hey, that guy has a ride. He has a ride. I've been watching those videos by Nathaniel Butchard. He's on Facebook. What he does is he just takes those high-end cars like Lambo, Bentley, and stuff, and then he will park it somewhere on the roadside, and then he will, go to the ladies. Hey, lady, I just moved out here, and the ladies don't mind him, but as soon as they snub him, he will turn around, hit on his remote, and then the car just, bling bling, and then the ladies will come around. No, it's staged. It's kind of acting or something. But if it is so funny, I don't know how I even subscribe to, but it's always on my Facebook. So he turns around and the ladies say, "Man, is that your car?" And he will say, "Yeah, you just saw me open it." Then the ladies will come, he will chat with them. They will sit in their car. And at the end, what did he say? He says to them, "You know what, lady? I know you're a gold digger. Because when I approach you, no, you didn't know who I was or whatever. You snubbed me. You didn't even want to talk to me. Now that you see me, I have this Lambo. You want to, so you are a good digger." And then he'll kick them up. So pretty much, I mean, to some
okay, but
extent,
I'm glad you said that because that's the biggest problem. America is just one big TV show. And so they actually hide what's going on in the country, but they put on these TV shows and these skits. So now the boys back home are like, wow, in America, all you have to, and that's not even how life goes. So it's false advertising. Like, America is just false advertising. They're bombing your city, but they're, showing you that you can come and buy a Lambo here. It's, it's a
well,
crazy world.
in a way, it is. In a way, but I mean, going back to the American dream, basically what it means is that the founders of this country or constitution made it at least every human being should experience some basic lifestyle. Like you should have a good home to sleep in or live in. You should have at least one or two cars for the family. You should have a good education, a good neighborhood. Those basic things should not be denied you. I mean, it's unfortunate that some parts of the world don't experience. Some kids go to bed hungry, but here, do you know how much food is thrown into the dust? I mean, trash at the end of the day,
Yeah.
dumpsters. I mean, you go to restaurants and all this food that they finish, I mean, selling and they are not purchased or whatever, they throw them away. So there's so much
Yeah.
waste where other people are just thinking about how do I even wake up the following morning to have more people are thinking about what they're going to eat the next morning than what they're going to do the next day. I mean,
Yeah.
so in extent, that is what every government should be shooting at, to make sure your people have the basic necessities in life. It doesn't, I mean, driving a Lambo or whatever, it doesn't, because I know a place like Ghana, if you ride a Mercedes, whether it's, the high ends of Mercedes became akin to living good in Ghana. If you have a Mercedes Benz, man, the honeys will be chasing you. I don't know what car it is these days, but it was akin to certain kind of lifestyle. And if you don't drive certain things, you are looked up in a certain way. If you don't live in certain neighborhood, you are looked at in a certain way. I mean, I lived in Nima before. I lived in Fadam, all these places, and so I know what it means to live in this low ends and high ends. If you come from this classic place, like now, despite it has a club somewhere in East Legon, those places, and they have a place they go to hang out on the weekend. So it's kind of it comes with a class. But then when you look at the American dream, the way I'm looking at it is that the institution has been formatted in such a way that at least everybody should be able to have some job that gives you money. And that job should make you responsible that, hey, if I need a car, I don't need 30,000, 40,000 to get a car. Please give me the car and I'll pay monthly. All we require of you is what? Being responsible. That is why the zip codes matter a lot. They know your zip code. They know where you live. If you are not making your payment, they will come and repo your car. So to all the governments out there, what we should be doing is making sure our citizenry, when they go to vote, they know that this person I'm voting for is able to meet my needs. I mean, that kind of room cannot be built in a day, but we have to strive. All those campaign promises they give them, then when they get there to power, they forget about all this promise. So the American dream is about what? Being able to afford this simple necessities, like the pursuit of happiness. And we talked about happiness. Happiness to me is okay, having a car that I can get up in the morning, drive to work, or if my family has emergency and 911 is not coming, I can just hop in and drive them around. Or if I want to go to church on Sunday, I don't have to wait for the bus. I mean, simple like that. Even if it's the bus shuttle you are taking, you know that there's a reliable bus that when you get at 8 o'clock, 8:02, the bus is coming, you can ride. And places like New York, you don't even need to own a car because it's already a traffic zone area. There's so many people per acre or whatever. So having a network of buses that, hey, every 30 minutes or every hour, there's a rider you don't even worry about vehicle. And that is not a luxury to them. They can go to wherever. Some people park their cars the whole week, never use, because he can just hop on the street and the next bus is coming. So life is good. That is the kind of happiness we're talking about. So somebody's just happen to have a bus to take him to wherever he wants to go, ahead to wherever. That is happiness. And somebody, I want to get out of my living room, hop into my garage, get into my car, drive off, let the remote close the door after me, and I'm gone. When I'm coming back, I hop in. That is somebody's dream. So when you look at the whole essence, when I'm talking about the American dream, to me, that is what it means. Having a place to live, having a job, because without a job, where is the money coming from? Unless you are doing scamming or you have an investment where you sit in your living room and cross your legs and every minute money is pouring in. But I believe the framers of the Constitution, and for that matter, the nation, thought that, you know what, people shouldn't suffer to think about what they're going to eat. I mean, there is food around. Just be moderate.
I don't think they were concerned about that. I think the men who wrote the Constitution literally were just angry at Britain. I don't even think
Okay.
they cared about like the kids or anything. I literally think in the fashion of men historically, they ruled with ego and pride. And I think because they were so focused on how Britain is wronged and they actually didn't take the time to care about set up the foundation for the future of the children. How can we live in this country with all this food and there are some kids who can't even eat lunch? That doesn't even make any sense. Or you're making the lunch cost so high that people are opting not to eat lunch. Like, we have too many resources in this country. I think America is the land of some resources that are being mismanaged.
Yeah, but then you also have to look at the point where you're not going to make America the savior of the world. That is one thing. They have resources they can
I
give.
think they've made
They
it
have
that
to.
way, so we expect it from them.
No, I mean, other countries should also be responsible. I mean, there's leadership everywhere. Learn from people who have been able to lead well and do the same thing. Sometimes we have problems with leaders in other countries, although resources are not adequately, shared or something. But every nation should endeavor, because Africa, for instance, has a lot of resources, untapped resources. And maybe God made it that way that some people should have the resources, some should have the knowledge to come and tap it, to
Yes.
process it, and then it
Yes.
goes around. So either there's an end somewhere where it's taken and it doesn't come back, or some people are taking advantage of it. It's about time that we all dig in and say, you know what, this is how we have to put the resources together, instead of allowing one person to, come claim and not return. But at the end of it all, it comes to leaders being responsible. We are in a new generation where the things that did not work in years ago, we have to find a way of making them work, because Ghana has oil, has all these resources. Some people are tapping it, and you ask yourself, there are people who have completed universities. What are they using their knowledge for? They will say, oh, the resources are not there. But people come, China is coming to dredge and to, do gather and sell and all that stuff. We have to wake up. So when you talk about the dream, it's about every nation stepping up to the plate and say, you know what, this is what I think is good for my nation. This is what I'm going to do. Let's rally the youth up. This is what we want to do. Every president, every leader should be able to have press conferences every now and then. Tell the people this is what is going on. But if you are elected and you just go hide in your bunker and so you know what, hey, they voted for me, now I'm the champion. It doesn't work that way. You should go out and let the people know what is going on. Tell them what is going to, hey, bring your mind. Let's, share ideas. What can we do to make this nation better? Because there shouldn't be a brain drain in any nation. I mean, right now, if you put a bus or a plane in certain African countries, say, hey, guys, there's work in US or Canada, or let's go. They will all pick up their bags and leave. It shouldn't be the case. There should be so much resources and freedom, because when people leave here to go vacation in Ghana, say, man, the place is so peaceful, it's so quiet, we like the food, we want to enjoy. But if you ask them to live there for about 6 months, they say, I need to go back. Those are some of the things we have to look at. So any nation can have a dream. America has its own dream, and the dream is the pursuit of happiness, as Will Smith portrayed in his movie. We should have that liberty to live in a country that is free. I don't think that freedom has come yet. People have paid the price with their blood and all that, but freedom, again, is still ongoing. It hasn't been attained fully, but maybe we are inching towards it. We got 3 minutes on the show. Your closing remarks.
I think you just closed it out. You said it. I think we
All right.
need leaders who don't view leadership as a competition, but as, a means to help their nations for full prosperity for the whole world.
Well, it's true that no one size fits all person or shoes or whatever. Yeah, you rightly said it. The competition should be taken aside, because the creator of the universe has endowed I believe every country has some resources. God has endowed all countries or nations or whatever with enough resources. We have to be able to identify the resources and say, you know what, I have the resources, I don't have the manpower or the resources to tap it. Come and tap it. Let's go to agreement. I supply the resources, you go and refine, you bring it back, or we go to some compromise. It looks as if that thing is not working. And like you said,
Can I say something
go ahead, man.
to build off what you said? I think you're exactly right. I think God gave Africa so many resources because we have so many people who can cultivate it. The problem is they're stealing from us. How do we have the resources in our backyard and somebody else is taking it from like a helicopter and
But do you
taking
blame
it?
the people who are stealing, or you are not being on guard?
What? I blame the people for stealing, and I think the problem is we have leaders who are treating it as competition. If
Is it
we had
is it ignorance? Because you can't just sit in your house and leave your door open for somebody to come and steal your items. How does that work?
that has to be another episode. We don't even have time for that right now.
let me take my last ad and then gather your thoughts. You really have to give me a closing remark, so think about it.
Hello, beautiful people of Ghana. This is Banahine Specialist Hospital. We are so excited to announce to our people Ghana that we are finally open and we are accepting patients. At Banahine Specialist Hospital, our extraordinary physicians and nurses are here to provide a high quality medical service to our extraordinary patients. Our services include primary care services, maternal, neonatal, and pediatric services. We also have an in-house pharmacy. We have x-ray and laboratory services available to you. Come to us for all your healthcare needs and you will be happy you did, because we believe the health is wealth. Thank you and stay blessed.
All right, beloved, tonight we've been talking about living the American dream, what it means to you. And my special guest was my daughter, UNC Duke Robertson scholar, soon to be a senior. And so we gleaned her knowledge and she's shared with us what she knows. as far as her generation is concerned. Let me give this quote and then I'll take her closing remarks and we'll be done. I think I'm 1 minute over. The American dream promises freedom and equality. It offers the freedom to make both the large and small decisions that affect one's life, the freedom to aspire to bigger and better things, and the possibility of achieving them, the freedom to accumulate wealth, the opportunity to live a dignified life, and the freedom to live in accordance with one's values, even if those values are not widely held or accepted. In this life, you cannot prevent the birds, the airbirds, from flying over your head. But some way, somehow, you can prevent them from pooping on your head. That much, I'm sure. I wouldn't position myself in a place where, unless I'm sitting under a tree and accidentally the bird poops. But if it's just flying, I'll make sure it doesn't poop on me. You have to find out your comfort zone. What will make you to live that dream? There are so many principles involved. If you want to squander your money anyhow, if you want to live irresponsibly, you buy stuff you don't want to pay, your credit score is going to tank. And then when you go for another loan for a house, they will shoot. They might help you, but your interest rate is going to be off the roof or what they call it. So you have to plan. If you fail to plan, they say you are planning to fail. On that note, I'll give the reins to Madam Davina to give us the closing remarks.
Okay, anyways. Just kidding. I think, like we said, the American dream is a lie that they've sold us.
You said it's a lie?
It's time for us to wake up. That's
Why did you say it's a lie?
No further questions.
No
further questions. I see how I got you.
but you know I'm the host now.
That's what you do. You drop a bombshell at the end and then you play the closing music.
No, it's not a lie.
It is. But we can get into that in the next episode. Thank you guys all for listening. We enjoyed talking.
All right. Thank you on behalf of my studio manager, Dr. Osei, the Era1 team, and the Divine Connection show hosted by myself. I want to thank Davina for gracing us with 1 hour of her precious time. She said American dream is some way subjectively a lie, but that is opening a can of worms for another discussion. I know she was kidding, but we'll come back. We'll come back another time and address it. So until we come your way again, have a blessed evening. Please continue sharing the video. Go to YouTube, go to Facebook, and share the video. Let our new generation experience what it means to live the American dream. I mean, it might be personal, it could be subjective, it could be objective, but however you look at it, if you want to plan well, you can plan. If you want to fail very well, you can fail. And if you want to succeed, you can succeed. The opportunities are there, but it's not going to be handed freely to you. Even when you live on welfare, they will take care of you for a certain time. After it gets to a point, they will tell you, know what, man, it's about time you move. So it's all about American dream. So thank you very much. We'll meet again. Okay, keep shaking your head. Well, we'll meet again. Until then, have a good evening. Unless you have something to say, the way you are shaking your head.
Yeah, let me say this. Welfare, they actually have psychologically designed it so that people have to stay dependent on them in welfare. So people in welfare, it's not on them. It's just they need reparations. They need reparations in the form of capital, in the form of education, in the form of grace, and in the form of being culturally sensitive. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything I say will be heard against me in the court of law. I don't want to continue or even start another conversation. So thank you very much. We'll meet again on Thursday. Keep watching the Divine Connection and Era1. Era1 is 24/7. We have programs lined up every day of the week. So keep watching and talk to you soon. Have a good one. Thank you very much, Miss Davina. Bye-bye. I'll see you.
Aden Urefiana. Say to me, mania, any of me, mania, about Aden, I was so Aden me ba, Aden crap. Hey, I was any that's what's any that's all, any that's all, any that's on Sacra, any that's all, oh, any that's on Sayo, any that's all, I am to be any that's all, any that's all, any that's all, oh, I do, get to say, any that's all. I didn't cry na mubefra. When you name more crowns, a day in a beddy, Anaya Banum, Anna Monica Dianse. I didn't cry na mubefra. O crans in a diane, Nelly Pabian sing to mana. I dang me back, I dang cry. I also need a suasa. O crans in a diane, Nelly Pabian sing to mana. I dang me back, I dang cry. I also need a suasa. To a ready, my what did he mean? To a city, to me, ready. Eh, woo, ready. Then you come and Poa. Now our bones and is a sewer. Now my would be near. I dine, I was so, money.